Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the SCCALE webinar on citizen engagement. My name is Tom Evers. I'm project manager at Energie Samen, the Dutch Federation for Energy Communities in the Netherlands. First of all, thank you for joining. We have an, I think, very informative and exciting program lined up. This webinar is part of the SCCALE program, a European project on scaling up energy communities all across Europe. In SCCALE, we have 5 pilot projects running on all kinds of topics within energy community energy. And with those 5 pilot projects, we have several replication sites. So about 7 replication sites per in each of the 5 countries in Europe that are participating in the SCCALE program. For this webinar, I ask you to participate as well with your questions. If you have any questions, you can type them in the chat of Microsoft Teams. Our program consists of 3 segments, and each of the segments ends with a Q&A. And in the Q&A, you can raise your hand, and then I ask my colleague Krijn, who's behind the camera, to give the floor to you to pose your question live. With me today are Melissa de Wit, working on citizen engagement and communication at Grunneger Power energy community in the city of Groningen in the Netherlands. Grunneger Power, which is the pilot project in the SCCALE program in the Netherlands, and Olaf Heinen from Tinten Groen Assendorp, 50 Shades of Green, Assendorp, which is one of the replication sites in the Netherlands. So welcome to both of you, and thank you for being here. Yeah. And the people at home or at work, thank you for attending the webinar. The webinar, like I said, consists of 3 segments. The first one is on what is participation, what is citizen engagement exactly, what is the definition of it. The second one is about examples and experiences that we gained in the Netherlands during the SCCALE project. And we end with the relation of the energy communities with their local authority. And actually behind that, after that, I will talk a little bit more about the SCCALE program and the things you can take home with you. So I think let's start with the first segment. What is participation? Olaf, can I ask that to you?
That's an excellent question. And I think a question that will take a lot more time than this hour that we have to explore. But in short, participation is an umbrella term. So there are a lot of different kinds of participations, and it starts with just pure information, a government informing their citizens about their plans. For instance, a local government that says, the playing ground in front of your house, we're going to develop an apartment there. So that's just information. And at the top of the participation ladder is citizen control. So citizens that have complete control of their process. And we're going to talk about the relationship with government in section 3. Mm-hmm. But for now, this is a short the ladder, as it's called, created by Einstein in 1969. And it starts at lower level with just the information, informing the government, informing their citizens about what's going to happen. As a citizen, you don't have any control or any power. You just hear what's going on, and that's it. Then you've got consultation, so you can the government can ask their citizens what they think about something. If the government is going to build a playing ground, for instance, they can ask you what kind of color the swing should have, for instance. So here you've got, as a citizen, a little bit more control. Participation is the next level. where the citizens are part of the project itself and can make decisions together with the government, but the government is still in control of the project. The next one is co-creation, where they're both in control, and the last, the ultimate participation is citizen control, where the government is participating with the citizens. So that's the short of it.
Yeah. But what's the importance of citizen engagement, of participating in a project?
Yeah. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, what we see is that the citizens themselves are the experts of their own neighborhood or environment.
Yeah.
I think you agree on me with me on that.
Yeah.
So when you make plans, I think it's necessary to make the plans together because they are their own expert of the neighborhood, and together you can make better plans. It improves the plan or the goal you are working towards. So yeah, I think it's necessary and important to work together.
Yeah. So these are the energy transition is about our houses as citizens, our streets, our neighborhoods. So it's important that we have some sort of control about the process. Yeah.
Because the local community, the local authority doesn't have that knowledge of the locals, of the citizens themselves.
Yeah, well, I think they have a lot of knowledge, but I don't think like the aspects that you know as a citizen of your own neighborhood, that is like knowledge, skills, or whatsoever that you don't have as an expert of the government or whatsoever. So I think when you have, it's like a puzzle piece, and when you take all those puzzle pieces together, yeah, you make a very nice puzzle. And yeah.
Right. Yeah, and again, it's about our houses, so there is ownership there. I own my own home. So when we talk about communal heating, for instance, the government expects me to invest in my own house with my own money. So there is already some form of ownership in that process by citizens. Yeah. So engaging citizens in the process is really important.
And is that the sole motive of people to even start getting interested in such a project, or are there other motives for people to engage?
Yeah, well, there are different motives for people to engage in these kinds of projects, I think. So what you see here is also that I think there are different theories on how on what things people can engage in these kind of things, but if you will shut it down to 4, I guess what you can say is that people want to participate because they want to do something for the environment, something good, but also like the financial costs of things is also a very important motive for people to engage or not engage in these kind of things. But also to take into consideration is what do other people do. So if I live in my neighborhood and my neighbor tells me like, oh yeah, did you hear about all those things? It's not that good. It's something that people find very important. Like what do you do, or what is my neighbor doing? So that is also something that can be a motive to engage or not engage. And I think the last one is comfort. So what is if I make a step, for example, to switch off from natural gas and connect to a heating network, what's in it for me, like comfort and sort of things.
Yeah, so you've got all these different profiles of people living in your neighborhood. Everybody has their own way of seeing the outside world.
Yeah.
And you have to find a way to find common ground together. Yeah, so everybody has a different opinion, different view, different political background, cultural background. But when you're working on like communal heating, especially cooperative communal heating, you have to find common ground together to bind to build a system. Yeah. So all these different voices, all these different people. In Assendorp we use talks, kitchen table talks, we talk together. Meaningful conversation is really important in trying to understand each other, trying to see each other's point of views. And you don't have to agree, but you can agree to disagree and still find common ground.
And you found common ground.
We found common ground. Yeah. In Assendorp, we are in Zwolle. We are at the end of the first stage of developing a communal heating system. And in this stage, we have to find the randvoorwaarden, the preconditions. We have to formulate preconditions together to find common ground on which we could build a system. And we formulated those preconditions, and right now we start to develop the communal heating system.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah.
So we found.
It's warm.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's warm. Yeah.
It's warm. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we can give the floor for some people to pose questions.
No questions until now.
Okay. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. With the Teams hand button on top of the screen.
Amber, I see you have a question. Please unmute and formulate your question.
Hi. I'm joining you from Germany, and I was wondering if you've had what sort of formats you've had to have neighbors or citizens successfully organize themselves. If you've already tested some formats, like maybe also online, or maybe food markets or supermarkets or something, if there's like any projects that you've done that have been successful in that, or where you have like any, let's say, like any experience you can share.
Very good question. It's even the topic of our second segment in the webinar. But I think Melissa, I can already maybe give some away on that.
Yeah. So we have, I would say, a work group of citizens, as I would call it. So they are, citizens that we that said beforehand, like, okay, we want to engage in this project, and what we do, what we did in the past, but what we still do is that we just go into the neighborhood with our, as you can see, it's like the first photo. It's a coffee car, I would say. We call it a coffee car. And
it's the cargo bike.
Yeah,
typical Dutch.
Cargo bike. Nice.
So you attract people with coffee, and then.
So well, as you can see, I think it's a bike that also has a lot of. It has a color, and it's I think it attracts attention already when it is in the neighborhood. But indeed, what we do is that we have coffee and tea with us as well, and that we indeed can have a conversation with people, and also give them some coffee or tea, so that you can have a good conversation with each other. Yeah.
Okay.
So and then in that case, you're also very nearby the citizens in their own neighborhood. So for them, it's like. How do you say it? You lower the threshold for them to come to you, because it may be in their own street. So if they see you are there and they have any questions or whatsoever, they just have to open the door and go to the car to the bike.
Okay.
Yeah. And we used it's a lower picture. So we have a slightly different project in Zwolle than in Groningen. We had to formulate these preconditions before we could start developing our heating system. And one of the things we used were kitchen table talks. So we used the front runners in the neighborhood. Every neighborhood has front runners, and those front runners invited their neighbors. And together with those neighbors, we had just meaningful conversations about their worries, about their opportunities they saw, about anything surrounding their houses and heating and energy. And that's the way we build a community, a network within our neighborhood. And from that network,
I just I didn't quite understand the word that you used in the beginning, like to describe like the type of meeting it was.
Kitchen table talks.
Kitchen table talks. Okay, so someone would invite you to their home.
Yeah, kitchen table talks, and they're not sitting at the kitchen table right here. Right here, they're sitting on the couch, but you could call it couch talks as well.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it's all about having meaningful conversations with your neighbors and finding common ground in order to have to formulate the preconditions to start a communal network. And this is not everything we did. We also had some fun. Should I just say next?
You're allowed to have right?
This is fun as well. Yeah.
Let's first go to the second question before we go ahead to this second segment.
Katharina, can you formulate your question?
Maybe again.
Katharina, can you formulate your question?
Perhaps after muting yourself.
The question is,
I feel like she might mean like, do you have someone, let's say, from the heat pump industry there to provide sort of like technical knowledge on why heat pumps are like the right solution to decarbonize buildings? But without knowing what she means, that's what I think she means.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's part of the process we had in Zwolle as well. So the original question in our neighborhood was not if we wanted a communal heating system. The question was, how are we going to heat our houses without natural gas? Because in the Netherlands we use natural gas, and that's going to stop. So that was the original question, and we also looked at individual options like heat pumps and stuff like that. And what we did was we organized bijeenkomsten, meetings, citizens meetings, and we invited the experts. We wanted to learn ourselves as citizens. How do these things work? What are the best options? And we started a trial. How do we insulate our houses? So we had about a year of learning together and making decisions. And at the end, the decision was to have a communal heat source. So yes, we invited experts to come to our neighborhood and tell us about the different options there were. Yeah, you just have a communal heater source.
Yeah. For us, it's a little bit different. Maybe I don't know if we go into that further, or should I?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
okay.
Also shortly.
Yeah. So we work together with the municipality of Groningen, but there is a company already in the city of Groningen who is conducting the heating network. So they are the technical experts. So it's like a little bit of different process and also collaboration that we have in our project.
The government.
That shows that the local context is really shaping the project.
Yeah.
Because in your case, there's already an expert with a district heating network. Whereas in your neighborhood, it's all new and.
Yeah, it's all new. We started it ourselves, so there wasn't any heat source. We had to.
But I think what's also interesting on our process is that it is a quite young company, the heating network company that we have in Groningen.
Yeah.
So also there it was a lot of new things, and what you see is that we involved citizens as well in technical things and also the ontwerp.
The
design of the heating network. I wasn't really involved in that, but I know that that was the case. That was also discussed with the citizens.
Yeah, and how you insulate the houses.
Yeah, definitely, because now we are in this project. We just had we had a check to see how well isolated the houses are, and if they are ready to connect to the heating network right now. And if it wasn't the case, what should be done in the house to make it heating network ready.
Yeah.
And also then we use kitchen table
Talks.
talks, as you say so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's very common. Yeah.
Are there any more questions? If not, we can. If not, we can smoothly go into the second segment, because we already talked about some experiences and tools that you guys used in your project.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, how do you actually even reach out to people in your neighborhood?
Yeah, so I think also what is very important to keep in mind is that that when you send information to citizens, that it's in a language that everybody can understand. So that is one thing to keep in mind when you send information. But I think we did different things. I think we did fun things, as you said earlier, like we did an excursion to another city here in the Netherlands, where they already had a heating network or whatsoever, just to see like, okay, but what is it like? But we also had meetings, and they were on a neighborhood level, as I would say it, like just to invite everybody of the neighborhood, like, okay, well, there is a heating network coming in your neighborhood. Please come so we can give you information and tell you more about it, but also to invite people to come in a work group, as I would say it, to work together with us in the project on different topics. But also visit the neighborhood, but visit the citizens as well. So I think there are very different things that you can do to come close to the citizens, and also to come in contact with them.
Yeah.
So you provided a platform in which you can give the people an opportunity to say, well, I just want to be informed, or I want to participate actively in the project itself.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, that's very important, I think.
Yeah, and also what you see is that what we do is that we make the program of a meeting. So a meeting that is from the work group, we make it together with the work group, as we make like, okay, these are, we think, some key points that are important to discuss with each other, but also then again just ask them like, okay, are there points that you also want to be part of the program? Or and also what we see is that we have a meeting, and that sometimes just how the interaction goes, the meeting and the program goes off the table, and you have a very different meeting. So that's also very interesting, but also makes it, I guess, fun. And I think it's also necessary, because these are the things that are at that point important that they want to discuss. And so how is that for you?
I recognize it. Yeah, you've got all these different profiles of citizens living in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different way of engaging. And our project isn't just about heating. It's an integrated project. It's also about heat stress and water problems in our neighborhood. And what we see is that our neighbors interact with each other over a variety of projects, and that really helps getting all these profiles together. So everybody has their own way of engaging with their neighbors, and that's really necessary, because we want to reach the middle ground, the silent majority of our neighbors. So the front runners, that's not a problem. They are engaged and they are active in our project, but to reach the silent majority, that's the more difficult part. Mm-hmm. And we use different kinds of small projects like communal gardens and things like that to interact with those neighbors.
And I would like to point out that I think that the personal contact, just like face to face, is very important, and I think it's very effective as well. I think most effective, if I say so myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just like a calling, or the doorbell, ringing the doorbell, or just go into the neighborhood with like a coffee, like the cargo bike, as you said before. I think
Yeah.
those kind of things are,
Yeah.
they are very important to do,
Yeah.
because then you really reach people. Also, people that maybe don't read all the information you send them,
Yeah.
or you send them an invitation for a meeting for the whole neighborhood. And I think there are still people who think like, well, I don't know, I'm not sure if I want to go, but and those are people you don't really come in contact with.
Nee.
And then when you have like personal contact, yeah, that's one way to get in
Yeah.
contact with them.
And that's something that we can do as citizens, more so than the government or just commercial parties. So we as citizens in our community, we can reach out and we can make contact with all our neighbors. We use the term deep democracy in Zwolle. And that's really important, because that's the way you build a foundation for the future councils.
So in that way, you can make people trust the new energy system, but also the people who run it, and make them go with you with the project. It doesn't even have to be an energy project. It can be a garden, communal garden.
Yeah,
Just-
it can be anything,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be anything. So it's asset-based community development. It's So you can use it to build to inform people, to build trust, to formulate those preconditions, and so together you can build a durable energy source for the future. It doesn't have to be communal heating, but it can be anything.
Okay.
And you can make it fun. It doesn't have to be serious. It's a really serious topic, and a lot of people are afraid or scared of it, because the energy transition is really big,
Yeah.
And the climate changes are big. But if you make it small and fun, people will engage, and that's where the conversations start. Yeah.
And what I think of now is that also in our project, it's like a transition from switching off to natural gas to the heating network. Is that we, what is important in our project is to, to unburden people.
Yeah.
I hope it's correct English, but we have. It is. So we already decided that, right? So to unburden people, like if you switch to the heating network, like to help them, and also then the kitchen table conversations are really important, just to go in their house and see like, okay, but what if you switch to the heating network? What does it mean for you, but also for your house? And
for the savings, there are a lot of decisions people have to make. It's enormous.
it's a lot.
Our neighborhood is old. It's built around 1900, so the houses are 130 years old. So people have to invest a lot of money to make them sustainable, and those are really big decisions. And people are really scared of taking decisions. And if you do it together, it's much easier and better. So unburden is really important in this process. Help your neighbors, help each other, make choices together. And you've got a project manager for that.
We have a kind of, well, I think in English it's kind of a funny name for it. It's like if I have it's not a correct translation, I will say that beforehand, but if you would translate it like immediately, it would be like the project leader behind the front door. So it's someone that goes
into the
houses and checks the technical things, but also have the discussion and what it means for you, and what the costs would be.
Yeah, and again, that's something the government wouldn't do.
No.
And the project leader is someone from the neighborhood itself, or at least from
someone
just
that's
one of the
in our
neighbors.
case it's someone that's close to the citizens.
Exactly.
Yes, and it's also someone that they already know, because this is a project, in our case it's a project that we have already for a few years. So with the citizens, you have a lot of a long process that you go through with each other, and this is someone that they know for quite a while. So that's also I think important.
Yeah. I think we can move to the audience, to the people. Are there any questions
Yes, I have one question from Amber from Germany.
Yes.
Amber, can you formulate your question? I think it's also a bit of a bridge to the next topic.
Okay. Amber, can you pose your question?
Sorry, which question?
Which one of the many?
I mean, my last question was about like if there's like an official process for that local authorities have to conduct, and how the citizen engagement would connect to this official process. So if there's or sort of, I guess, to put it like more into context, how I'm thinking about it is like, are you earlier than the government? Are you like a resource for the government? Or are there already government officials sort of participating in these community meetups?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah, can you answer that?
Yeah, that's about participation again. And it's really nice that we are together here at this table, because we've got two different projects. Would you like to tell about your relationship with the Groningen government? Yeah.
So what I already told a little bit beforehand is that we as an energy corporation, we work together with the municipality of Groningen in this project, and also together with Warmtestad. That's the company, the name of the company who conducts the heating network in Groningen. And we all have different roles. So our role in this project is the communication and engagement. But we do that together with them. I think, we got involved a few years back together with the citizens already. And now we work together with the citizens and with the municipality and with the company that conducts the heating network. Yeah. And we have like a collaboration agreement, I would say. Yeah.
The heating network, you mean the utility? So who is going to provide energy or electricity, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and where on the ladder would you place your, it's about here, the PlayStation, I think?
Yeah, I think so. And we are working now on a co-creation.
Co-creation.
Yeah.
So this is a short version of the ladder of Einstein. And in PlayStation, you are together in the process. So the citizens and the government are together in the process, but the government is still in charge of the process. And when you have co-creation, you're both in charge. So you have equal rights in the process. So this is where Groningen is at this minute. We are at this level, in fact. So we started about 4 years ago when our government in Zwolle said to us, well, we've got no idea how we are going to heat your houses. No idea whatsoever. And we said, well, why don't we find out how we want to heat our own houses? So we took control in an early stage of the process. And right now, the government of Zwolle, local municipality, exactly, is participating in our project. So it's the other way around in our area. But at the same time, and that's interesting in Zwolle, we've got a geothermal project, a big project, almost similar to the process in Groningen, where Zwolle is developing a heat source on its own, and they have in the same city a completely different process in another neighborhood. So that's really interesting. So in our neighborhood, if that answers your question, we are at the top of the ladder and we have full control of the process at this moment. Yeah.
So what does the municipality do? What is their role in that?
In our well, they participate in our process. Of course, at the end, it's always the municipality that has the final say, and that's how our democracy works. So we can't just stop our democracy for us. But at this moment, the municipality pays for our project. We are doing a governmental task, in fact. So it's the task of the government to help us get ready to be sustainable. and to quit using natural gas. And at this moment, we are doing the task, so we get paid to do the task for the government. Yeah, and they help us with advice. Yeah, and of course with interacting with each other, because this is something completely new. How we work together, how citizens take control over the process. That's also in the Netherlands completely new. So we have to learn together. We've got a community of practice where we keep learning together and develop new systems of creating durable energy.
Okay.
So when I hear you talk about your project, I would say that maybe what we are doing now is that we are working on the citizens control that you guys already have, because it's like a different different collaboration that you have with the government. I would say like also the things that we do with the work groups are, I think, a lot of similarities with the co-creation. And I think so about it. It's like maybe it's a little bit of both, like the co-creation and playstation. But when I see like the process that we go through with the citizens and also the municipality and the heating company, it is, we do it together. Yeah. And as you say, like the government has the final say. It's the same
always,
for us.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
I think it's everywhere in the Netherlands. But like the citizens control, that's something that we are working on now. Yeah. And it's a little bit different from how you guys have organized it, but working on it.
But again, that really depends on the local context.
And I think that's also like
authorities and partners involved already.
Definitely, and I think that's also something maybe to take home. Like there are different ways how you can do this, and I think there's no right or wrong or whatsoever. But it's there are different things how you can do it. If you have a certain goal, it's important to work together.
Yeah, we have to learn together. Yeah, that's why SCCALE is so important as well. Yeah. So all these communities learning together and creating a new future.
Yeah.
There's another question, and I think it's for you, Melissa.
Okay.
From Christina. Christina, can you tell us your question?
Yes. Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, my question is to get an idea on how time intensive or time consuming the approach that you have is, because it's the right way to go. I think it's really inspiring. I think that's the only way it's working. At the same time, it's a lot of work. This behind the door project manager and all the evenings and the coffee car and so on. So this is one question, and the other one is a little bit on how are you being paid as a cooperative by the local authority? Is it a lump sum, or is it the hours that you make, or how can you do a good estimation of the work you will have to do?
Good question. Good questions. Shall I answer the first one first, like the first question you had? So it's very time consuming, I guess. That's a fact. How much time it takes, I'm not sure, but if I look back on what we did with doing a scan in every house that wants to connect to the heating network, and also the kitchen table conversations we had afterwards, I think it took more time than I beforehand had expected. But then again, I would say it was worth all the time and the effort we put into it, because people now have very good information about how well isolated their house is, and if they want to connect, if the house is ready, yes or no. So it takes a lot of time, and I think you really need to take that in consideration. But maybe in the end, if you do it like this and you work towards a goal, maybe it takes less time than if you don't have those kind of things in the end. I mean, so I don't know what your opinion is on that, or your experience.
And we can use a lot of volunteers in our process, and that's also a difference between us and the government, for instance, or a commercial company. We engage with our neighbors, and we use a lot of volunteers. A lot of hours are unpaid. So yes, it's a really big process and a project, and but it's amazing to do. It's really great, and you interact with your neighbors. And and it's difficult to predict how much hours it will take.
I think so as well. I think you can make like a sort of estimation beforehand. We do so as well, but then sometimes in the end, it's you see it takes way more time than that you expected beforehand. So
it's really complex. It's about humans, about human beings, and it's a complex matter. So things change, like you said. You've got this evening planned with your neighbors, and the subject changes, and your complete project is out of the door, and you can start all over again. So that's participation for you.
Definitely, you need to be flexible, I guess. So
So, and how do you get paid?
How do I get paid? So it's a very direct question.
We're in the Netherlands,
So as I said before, we have a collaboration with the heating company and the municipality of Groningen, with all different roles. Our financial aspect is also, how do you say it? Like involved in the collaboration. So the hours that I do are being paid. I think it's very different from you, because you said like earlier, like all everything that I do is unpaid, right?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm paid as well.
So, okay. So my hours are being paid, and it's like it's in the collaboration.
So we get a lump sum, so a prefixed amount of money to do the project. In every stage, we have to ask again for new money. So that's really difficult in this process. That's one of the most difficult parts of citizens' participation. How do you get your money? It's really difficult. But we got this lump sum for the first project, and right now we go to the development stage of the project. And we can use money from the national government. So we can use the loan to start developing the heating system. But first money was from the government.
And who gets paid exactly? Is it the working groups or only the core project team?
We've got 3 different types of what do you call it? Citizens in the initiative. So we've got the volunteers, complete volunteers. So they can do whatever they want, and they're more than welcome. But if they want to stop, they can just stop. We've got paid volunteers. I'm not sure if you know that as well, but they get a small amount of money. And they have to perform a certain task, and then they can stop. And then we've got paid professionals, and I'm one of those paid professionals that have responsibility over the entire project.
Okay.
So don't know if I have to say anything about it.
I think there's another question from
Amber. You said you have people working like just a little bit part-time doing that. I can imagine that's maybe the people driving like also the coffee truck and so on, or like hosting the meetings. But the people who are being paid, do they need some sort of certification for advising on, let's say, different types of energy systems or heating systems? We have this new class certification in Germany, like the energy consultant, and it's like a regulated type of occupation. And when you have an energy consultant like advise on your heating needs or your heating system, you get access to subsidies. I'm just trying to make build the bridge to like how what types of people we would like involve here as well. But let me know if I'm taking up too much time, because I think your group is more local.
So well, I am an energy consultant. That's my profession. So in my own neighborhood, so that's great. But what we do in our project is more participation than that. It's about energy calculations and stuff like that. So it's more about how you deal with people, how you conduct a meaningful conversation. And our volunteers are trained. So we had some training in Zwolle for our volunteers about how to have a meaningful conversation, for instance. And expert advice we hire from outside our community. Yeah.
That's nice. Like the training for the volunteers.
Yeah. You were part of the training. You were in Zwolle.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we don't have to have a certified for our process.
No.
So, but in the Netherlands, if you want to have subsidized money, for instance, for flats or apartments, you do need a certified energy consultant to get subsidies. But it's not our money. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Are there any more questions? I think there's time for one, maybe two.
No questions at the moment.
Yeah.
Because if there are none, we already did segment 3 already, so I think we can move on, unless one of you would like to say some more on the participation letter or.
Well, I can talk about in hours. But sorry.
Well, if you want to say something in 2 minutes, then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's when we talked about this webinar, we realized that the situation in the Netherlands is perhaps different than in the rest of Europe. And we are really lucky to have a government that's open to these types of participation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's worthwhile creating a social network in your neighborhood and building a sustainable future. So
not only for the energy.
Not just it's not just energy. It's social issues as well. Poverty, everything is related. Yeah.
And I think the tools that we do, or the things that we do, are not only things that you can use in the energy transition, maybe, but I think those are things that you can do in every participation process, I would say. Yeah.
We do. So
very strong base for the community.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, then we can move on to the last segment of the webinar, because we only have 60 minutes. Like you said, we could talk forever, but in SCCALE we developed quite a lot of products that you can use to get a local community started. Klein, if you can move to the second slide. I'm going to through some slides. This is about the methodology guide, one of the products that we created in the SCCALE program. It's actually a sum up of all the experiences and information that we gained in the project. So in the 5 pilots, but also in the replication side. So also the experiences from Melissa are in the methodology guide, which as a community helps you start your energy project and also build your energy community in the neighborhood. If you move to the next slide. It's actually a set of 42 activities that you can go through as a community. So when you start as a small group of people who want to do something on the local energy system in the neighborhood, then you can use this guide, and it's 42 activities from a small group to how to become a successful energy community with a successful energy project. And doesn't matter whether it's a heat project like in the Netherlands or a solar farm or about energy sobriety. It doesn't matter, it's for everyone. If you go to the next slide, please. It consists of 4 stages of development. So the inspiration stage, preparation stage, implementation and operation. And actually the methodology guide focuses on the first 2 stages of development, so the inspiration and preparation. So that's from a small group of people who want to do something, who want to take action, all the way to have a full plan with a good energy and a big energy community behind the plan, to actually start building the new energy system, such as the district heating system. Next one. As an energy community, you can reach 3 milestones per stage. So to go through stage 1, the inspiration stage, you have to come to a plan that is supported by a local community. It doesn't have to be the entire neighborhood yet, but as a local community that have started to build an actual organization. And like I said, stage 2, the preparation ends with milestone F, in which you have a full plan that is ready, financially ready to be built. And in the next slide, you see that each of the 42 activities is themed in one of the 4 workflows. So the first one, citizen engagement and communication, what we talked about today, but also activities about technology and business case, partners and authorities, very important, and your own organization as an energy community and the financing that comes with it. Here you see an example of how the activities, like to reach milestone A, are themed in the workflow. So each activity is in one workflow, like for example, citizen engagement and communication, but you have to go through all the workflows to get to each of the milestones. So you can't leave the citizen engagement out of your project, because then you're sure that it's not going to work. And that also goes with the other workflows. And the next slide, you see an example of such an activity. This one is named Contact with the Municipality. It's activity 4. In orange, you see, well, if you go to the next slide, Krijn, then you see that it's one of the workflows. The orange box is an example of one of the 5 pilots from the SCCALE program with their experiences, and the box says what you have to do and also what you shouldn't do to go successfully through that activity. In the next slide, you see that there are some results written down. So each of the activities shows what kind of results you should have to successfully take off that activity. And in the next slide, you see the green box. Oh, one back, please. Which is a connection of the municipality guide with another tool from the SCCALE program. It's called the progress development tool, which actually monitors your development as an organization, but also in your project. So the questions in the green box are the questions that you have to answer in the progress development tool. And the tool shows certain KPIs, key performance indicators, that you can use as a means of communication to your own community, but also to the local authority to show, okay, this is how far we have got until now as in our project and as a mature organization. And the methodology guide, the progress development tool, but also other products from the SCCALE program, like how to finance your energy community, can be found on the SCCALE website. And Krijn will put the link in the chat of the SCCALE website, which will get a SCCALE toolkit, which is almost finished. And you can also find all products on the Energy Community Platform, another website that Krijn will also put in the chat. Well, the last slide shows how to use the guide, because it's quite a big guide, 42 activities. It's important to know that you shouldn't go through them one by one. Like we said today, the project really differs per local context, and it's important to cherry pick those activities from the guide that are relevant to your project. So, and based on the activities, you can set up like the working groups, or organize community meetings to go through such an activity and such a topic, to go through it together and engage your citizens in the process from milestone A to milestone F. So like I said, you can find all the information on the SCCALE website. There are also some more webinars that will result from the SCCALE program. So keep an eye on the SCCALE website. And lastly, I want to thank everyone for attending the webinar. And if you have any more questions, you can post them still in the chat, and we will answer them after the webinar and send them via email, together with the presentation and with all relevant information that we talked about today. So, well, thank you for joining today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And I see you next time. Thanks.